Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me. It is Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. First off, happy Wednesday to all of you, mid in the week, end of July, and well over halfway through this year already. Don't know where the time is going. So we are going to continue to watch this ticking time bomb of a reserve currency we've got, but let's start with markets. So we've got the MMRI risk indicator is above 275 again. This is, while it's increasing the risk, it is not showing panic yet. We're also watching the debt markets, and the fear greed index is still pretty well into the greed area. We've got retail investors still pouring in, putting their money here, hoping to make some quick dollars off of the stock market. We know what that resembles. However, the 10-year yield and relative strength of the dollar yesterday, these both became stronger, and as they gain strength, they pressure stocks in general. So we've got prices right now down in stocks, and the futures also showing a bit of continuance with that. So the surprise in this is that the cryptocurrencies have held pretty well. Bitcoin is still up, still strong above that 66,000 area for now. And the ETF did for Ethereum become a sell the news event, pulled back a bit, but not much. So both of those still relatively strong. And then XRP, I just want to make a quick mention because there is a lot of rumor going around about that one being possibly used by governments. So I post that one as well because to me, it's a bit of a different factor between the three. So at any rate, the sentiment right now, and none of this is financial advice, it's just my opinion of what I'm doing. Right now, it's risk on for the returns. What I'm doing is selling the rips because the market is showing more weakness. We also had silver get hit, but with that, buying the dips. Silver is commodity, real world asset, and will hold value for the long term. Very bullish. We had oil pull back as was expected. Still got a little more area, a little more weakness, I believe. Nothing is a certainty. This is just probabilities. Should find support around that $74 range. We'll see what it does from there. So weak earnings are beginning to dominate this market. This is on all of the larger companies in this earnings season. So yesterday, Disney was weak. Tesla had a bit of a drop. We had Spotify actually came out quite strong. UPS had drops. And then we're also watching a few more I'll talk about in just a bit. So this is the earnings calendar for today and pre-market tomorrow. You notice RTX is worse stock, Raytheon. We've got New York Community Bank, a couple of the airlines and such. So with that, we're watching Ford. This is Chipotle. General Dynamics is another war stock, GD. General Electric, AT&T on the hack, and then also Raytheon is RTX. So AT&T's latest massive breach of data. So showing the danger of centralization. And then right along with this, we've got the FTC probing JP Morgan Chase and MasterCard over consumer data privacy. So they're compiling all of the data, all of your information, and the FTC is now uncovering that they could be exploiting personal data about their customers and using that to charge higher prices. Now, I know that's not a shock, but just a reminder to watch your data if you can. So with this, we've got banks bracing for consumers to stop paying off their credit cards. And they don't mean that the credit cards would be paid off. What they mean is basically defaults. So banks bracing for consumers to stop paying off the credit cards. JP Morgan in specific banning credit cards for BNPL stands for the buy now, pay later, shorter term loans that you can get on almost anything, including Walmart right now. So they see the signs of all of these things slowing down. We are in the recession, watching for the yield curve inversion. And as that unwinds, as it basically reverts, we're going to watch this recession deepen. And that is one of the more certain signs, if you will. Nothing is a certainty, I shouldn't say, but one of the more reliable signs. So with this, we were hearing something about Jamie Dimon or Larry Fink as the picks for the president for the Red Party to become Treasury Secretary. Now, neither one of these two would be in their interest to do such thing. They're working in the darkness in the background, and they are billionaires, and they've got everything working the way that they want. Now, if you become Treasury Secretary, you're brought out in the light, so to speak. You've got people that can ask you questions, and while there's still not really accountability for the position, there's much more accountability in this position than it is where they currently are. So my personal opinion, they would not even accept it if it was offered, because it doesn't serve their best interest at all. So with this Nava story, we've got business bankruptcies jumping to the highest in the first half of 2024. It's not just business bankruptcies, it's also personal bankruptcies. People are beginning slowing down their spending. This has been coming on for as a slow grind for some time with the inflation. So wiping out businesses now, higher unemployment, and this is playing out exactly as we were saying the likelihood, if it followed historically, which it is. So we're in the recession, but it will get deeper from here before we get out of it. The good news is we'll eventually get out of it. It's going to be a while. We've got African nations turning to gold to protect against currency losses. So, as I was kind of saying yesterday, we've got other examples on dying currencies. So, we should look to them to see what is going on. So, I've got a few other stories that I want to go over. The first is US lawmakers now sending a letter to OpenAI. Now, this is Sam Altman ChatGPT, the larger one in basically tied to Microsoft, not owned directly, but tied to. So the congressional Democrats basically asking them for access to the data because they're saying that they want to look into the safety research that is being done and how much is putting towards it. Really, they just want access. So they want access to this this other data safety, everything that is going on. And it sounds like a good story on the top. So with this, we've got Bibi is visiting. So they're reinforcing the US Capitol in order for his speech. They're expecting a lot of unrest and actually kind of stoking some of the unrest because it's very distracting, which is what they want. Side story here had a giant explosion at Yellowstone. It was, they're saying not necessarily volcanic, it was geyser, but to keep in mind that basically volcanic activity is in an uptick. Now, if they spewed a lot of ash into the air, you might, again, one more reason, they may tell you to shelter in place because this is kind of what they're pushing towards. So just make sure you're stocked up and prepared in the event of something like that, that they would declare that. And with this, because they are still coming after our freedoms. Now we have this clown, pardon me, gentleman here, from Kiev. He is the ex-general telling the West, Ukraine's former military commander-in-chief, telling the West to trade your freedoms for survival and get ready to fight basically in their wars. What he's getting at, well, I've got something to tell you with your safety. You can take your safety and put it somewhere else because if I have to choose between safety or freedom, and you know me, I'm going to choose freedom. Safety is another word for control. It is a key word now. You've got to watch that. We know that the language now is being directed different ways. Mainstream media all in these pushes. So I just want people to be aware. That is why I'm here. I want people to stay awake. So yes, I'm getting a little bit strong about this, but I think this is the very issue right here looking to undermine what it is that so many people have given their lives for. And I'm not willing to go backwards on this sort of thing. So you may want your freedom someday, so don't give it up. So until I see you again, my friends, please stay free.